Jagat Guru Srila Bhakti Sunna Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Nityalila Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paribhra Jagracharya Vaja Asto Tarasata Shri Sriman Guru Churamani Sava Shastra Siddhantavit Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Nityalila Pravistam Vishnupad Srila Gorki Shordas Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Nityalila Pravistam Vishnupad Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki Jai. Jai Nityalila Pravistam Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai. Rupanu Guru Bhagya ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Prem Sagaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasari Sri Gaur Bhakta Brinda ki Jai. Go Gopi Govardhan Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Kalindi Jamuna ji ki Jai. Jai Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Acharya Brinda ki Jai. Samadvaita Vaishnava Mandali ki Jai. Kol Kartel ki Jai. Sri Harinama Sankirtan ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari. Sorry for your loss, Ratnandi. So welcome everyone to our regular Sunday afternoon talk. And as those who are following know, we've been going through the books from the talks of our founder, Acharya Vishnupad, Srila Bhakti Rakshak, Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. And at the moment we are on the Sermons of the Guardian of Devotion, Volume 2. And this is Chapter 9, The Divine Agent. I've heard that there is one American scientist who is researching, and he says that if he can get one cell from the body of Napoleon, he can make many Napoleons. In a potato, many sprouts may come, and if we cut them, one sprout will produce a potato plant. Okay. Just a moment. A bit of feedback on this. That's better. Oops. So, if we cut a potato, one sprout will produce a potato plant. So also in the human body there are many cells, and according to their scientific theory, we can somehow create a man from one of his characteristic cells of his body. The mentality, the vigor, everything is contained in every particle of which the body is constructed. In a general sense, there is some importance in bodily or hereditary succession. In India, some recognition is given to the caste Brahmins, those born in Brahmin families, but there are exceptions. So a birth from a Shudra, labourer class, or Malecha, race devoid of Vedic culture, their body is generally considered impure. From their ancestors, they do not observe particular rites or pure customs, and the impurity is there. Many of the smarter section and Shankarite interpreters and some of the Madhva school also hold that by chanting the holy name of the Lord, Harinam, the purification of the subtle body is effected, but the karma which is destined to be suffered or enjoyed in this particular body cannot be purified by Harinam or anything else. Karma, or the action that we have done in our previous life, is classified. Aparabda phalam papam kutam bijam phalonmukam kramenaiva praliyayeta Vishnu bhakti ratatmanam. It doesn't say where that verse is from, but the four types of sin known as aprabda, kuta, bij, and phalo mukha are generally eradicated by persons exclusively attached to devotion for the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Parabda is the karma or action which has been attached to be enjoyed or suffered in this body. And aparabdha is that which is deposited to be experienced in the future. Prarabdha means that which has already begun, and aparabdha is that which has been reserved for the future. The stages of progress from manifest to unmanifest are classified in three: kutam, bijam, and phalamukam. We can find this discussed in detail by Srila Rupa Goswami with various scriptural quotations in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Kirtan means the kutam, not kirtan. Kutam means the undetectable portion of our past action. We cannot read the actions and results contained there, present in a microscopic way. They are undetectable to us. We are told that in Japan, they are preserving a library where the letters of the book cannot be read by the ordinary eye. The letters are so tiny that they cannot be read by the naked eye, but they must be magnified by a microscopic process. So kutam is that which is undetectable, like a plane of action that will gradually manifest and demand its satisfaction. Bijam, or seed, means something which is more detectable, more clear. We can identify a particular seed and know which type of plant it will produce. And phalamukam refers to actions that are waiting to achieve their realization very soon. They are demanding. In the stage of prarabdha, the previous actions have reached their satisfaction in the body. These are the divisions. The general Vedic scholars are of the opinion that prarabdha, or that which has already begun to be experienced in this body, cannot be changed. It is out of hand, and reactions that are reserved for the future may be finished by our good activity, and we may not have to undergo them. But the Gaudiya Vaishnava school says that this prarabdha can also be removed. What is already destined to be experienced in this body can also be removed by Harinam and by no other means. Only Krishna Nam, Harinam, can purify one from that which has already begun to be experienced in the body. He may be purified. A Shudra or Mlecha, properly taking Harinam, may be converted to a Brahman. It is possible by Harinam. The Gaudiya school has given quotations from different places, and by analysis of the meaning of those quotations, it holds that one may be free from prarabdha karma, which has already begun to be experienced in this life. Bhaktyaham ekya grahaya shraddayatma priyasatam bhakti punati mam nishta shwapakam apisambhavat. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto. I, the Supreme Lord, and the Most Beloved, am attainable by the pure saints, by virtue of the potency of their exclusive devotion, born of faith, Shraddha. Exclusive devotion in me purifies even the lowest outcast known as Chandalas. Shwa means dog. Even the dog eaters, that is the lowest section, can be purified from their lower birth. Another verse in the same line of thought is this: Yanna madhyeya shravana ukirtanat jat pravanad jat smaranad api kvachit swadopya sadhya svandhya kalpate kutta punaste bhagavan na darshana. This is from the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Devahuti said, O Lord, if he just hears your name, then chants it, offers you obeisance, and remembers you, even a person born as a dog-eating outcast, instantly becomes eligible to perform the Soma sacrifice, to say nothing of the purification of those who see you directly. Those dog-eaters and lowest class of people can be immediately purified by taking the name of the Lord. When the prarabdha has gone, the person becomes like Indra, but not Indra proper, a little less. Savanaya kalpate means Indra kalpa. Now please note very attentively Srila Jiva Goswami's remark in his commentary. Svanaya kalpate means he becomes purified to such a standard that he can perform the sacrifice which is reserved only for the Brahmins. Kalpate means a little difference. So here, Srila Jiva Goswami has given his own commentation. What is the little difference? When that person's prarabdha has gone, he attains the position of a boy of a Brahmin. But the boy is not allowed to perform the Brahman yajna until and unless he is given the sacred thread. A sanskar, or purificatory ceremony, is necessary. Janmana joyate sudra. By birth, everyone is impure, but by sanskara, they are purified. But who will be fit for the sanskara? Only the Brahmin boy. Now he reaches the stage of the Brahmin boy and not the Brahmin. He may have come from any caste, but after taking Harinam, he should be considered to have reached the stage of a Brahmin boy. And again, when that Gayatri Sanskar or Brahman Sanskar is given, he gets the recognition of a bona fide Brahman, and he can perform the yajna and shalagram archana, worship of the deity Shalagram Shila, etc. So, with Harinam, taking the name of the Lord in a proper way, of course, the karma vanishes, and with a body purified, he is considered to be a Brahman boy. And when the sacred thread is conferred to him, he will become eligible for all the Brahminical activities. This is the scientific position. So, Pancharatrika Dikha may not be necessary. Harinam is sufficient. Still, the Brahman Sanskar, the Gayatri, or the Vedic Sanskar is given, and Pancharatrika Dikha is also given to help him to a greater degree. For example, one may win a university scholarship, and there may also be a district scholarship that comes to help him. The student's university scholarship is all important, but some subservient appreciation also comes in somewhat enhance his position. The Harinam circle is the purifying circle, and it is the greatest circle, extending in circumference from the lowest to the highest. And the Pancharatrika help is a circle within a circle. It will help the candidate in taking the name and other important practices, but without it, one may also practice. But there are so many Brahmins and Karmakandis, fruitive religionists, who will offensively consider that the Vaishnavas are inferior because they have not received the sacred thread. Those Brahmins, etc., must be saved. Also, a person who is taking the name may think that Brahmins are superior and the chanter of the name holds a lower position. His abhiman or ego must also be helped to go higher. Yes, I am said to be more than a Brahmin, so I shall have to become very careful about my movements, my eating, and other practices. This will help him to know that he must not go below the standard of an ordinary purificatory section. At that time, society will also be warned to deal properly with these persons who are taking the name of Hari by conceiving that they are exclusively given to the chanting of the name of Hari and are therefore superior to a Brahman. This system was introduced by our Guru Maharaj. He conferred the sacred thread extensively. This is to give the position of a Brahman outwardly. In calculation from the inner side, a Vaishnava is above a Brahman, but from the outer side, he created this particular society in which a Vaishnava who is exclusively given to Krishna consciousness must be recognized as not less, but more than a Brahman. He reformed the society to establish the position of the Vaishnava, thus also encouraging him, you must not go down, you are taking the name of Hari exclusively given to Krishna consciousness, and you must maintain your position in the external way, so that even the Brahmins or the Vedic school will feel some reverence for the position you hold. You must be cautious in your dealings and in your practices, and also the society will think, don't underestimate those persons who are exclusively given to Krishna consciousness. In this way, he reformed society. Although Mahaprabhu had not introduced this, our Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, adjusted the society to bring Mahaprabhu's teachings to the world in a broad way. Previously, Rup Sanatan and their followers did not care to take any sacred thread. Also, in the sannyas system of the Varnashram, Shankara and others give up the sacred thread to the fire when they take sannyas, showing that they have no necessity of a sacred thread. They're above that, above Brahman. Yet their creed is, we are one with Brahman. And here is the infinite difference. The higher Vaishnava the higher a Vaishnava is, the more he will say, I am the slave of Krishna and the slave of the slaves of the slave of Krishna. But the Mayavadis identify themselves with the highest entity. They have fallen prey to complete misconception of the revealed scriptures or the Vedas, and this is the position. Now you can see there's danger everywhere. The first anartha that Bhaktivinoda Thakur identifies is misconception of the self. So that may be, thinking you're the body and all of these things that go along with that. But that may also be that thinking that you have become one with Brahman, you are of the same position as Narayan, which is the Shankarite sannyasis, they think like that. I have become Narayan now. That's what they call it, Dvija Narayan, a poor Narayan. Although Narayan is the master of Lakshmi, but this is a Dvija Narayan. So they have fallen prey to complete misconception of the revealed scriptures or Veda. This is the position. In Manu Samhita we find 3 classes of births. Matto Agre Janardanam, Dvitiyam Murji Bandane, Tritiyam Yagya Dikshayam, Duyasha Shruti Chodanat. Matur Agre Jajananam. First, we take our body from the mother or the parents. Then, Dvitiyam Murji Bandane. The second birth is by receiving the sacred thread in a Brahman family. Tritiyam Yagya Dikshayam. Again, the third is to take this Pancharatrika Dikha, or to help for further progress. This is in Manu Samhita. A Brahman man has 3 births. The second, Mojari Bandhane, is Gayatri or Vedic Dikha. It teaches us, try to have your reading from the example that has been set by the Vedas. Don't believe what your experience tells you, but try to follow how the revealed truth wants you to read the environment. Don't survey your environment with your own fleshy eye and ear, but with a more scientific education, try to see things beyond that. Of course, science is also generally mundane, but revealed truth tells us to see things in another way. Nothing is for me, but everything is for the Supreme Authority. We are a particle of that. Try and read your environment in this way. Everything belongs to the center, and we are a part of that organic whole, and our duty must be ascertained accordingly. This is the Vedic process of reading the environment. An ordinary vision is, I am the monarch of all I survey. We want to utilize everything for our purpose, but this is mundane. Divyam Jnanam Jato Dadyat Kurjat Papasya Sankasham Tasmad Dikshati Sa Prokta Desi Kais Tattva Kovidai. What is the meaning of the word Dikha? Dikha is the process by which Divya Gyan or transcendental knowledge is imparted to a person. Upanayana means that a new eye is given to that person. The eye with which you now see cannot see correctly, but the eye is given from the Vedas as Gayatri. From this time onwards, try to learn that your environment in a different way. Bhu, Bhava, Shwa, Mahajana, Tapa, Satya. These planes of the world of your experience evolve from consciousness. Bhu means the world of this fleshy eye, its ear, etc. Bhuva means the mental aspect of the same. In this way, there are finer and finer conceptions of things. And what is the case of such? What is the cause of such experience? Our consciousness, soul, the light within us. So only with the help of that can we read things around us impartially. Sabitu Barenyam, and there is another realm that is venerable to this gross world of conception. Another worshipable and finer realm is there. There is another plane. God with his entourage lives there. All serve him. The center, and that is the norm there. It is perfectly known to the members of that world that the center, the all in all, we must obey the central authority, and then we can thrive. That is a proper life. There's another world in the subtlemost area. Above our soul is the super soul area. The Gayatri mantra comes to help us with all these things. It teaches us, don't think what you read by the experience of your fleshy senses is all in all. There are other planes of life, and you must recognize them and prepare your life's program accordingly. You cannot divorce the possibility of these different planes of existence. Prepare yourself properly for this great task. Although at this moment you cannot have any experience of it, there is a super experience world, and you must prepare yourself for that. Otherwise, you will have to end your life in failure. You can attain good success in this life. This is the purpose of Dikha. Transcendental knowledge, Dibyan Jnanam, is imparted to the man who would otherwise depend on his experienced knowledge or the knowledge drawn from his perception. The Harinam Dikha is the most central and simple. This is one sound aspect of the Lord, and you may come in touch with that and go on cultivating the sound aspect of the whole in Krishna consciousness. Only with the connection and cultivation of his sound aspect you can go to the center. That is Harinam. And in the case of the mantra, the name is couched in a particular way to give the meaning. I am casting myself unto him for his satisfaction. The mantra is couched in such a way that we pray, I am throwing myself for the satisfaction of my Supreme Lord. That helps us to take the name with the proper attitude, Sevan Mukha. We are dying for real life. Sacrifice means die to live. It is to throw oneself. The process of surrender has been given in the mantra. How should you advance in taking the name? What is this process? You must throw yourself and your ego of experience into the fire. That will be destroyed and the inner ego will emerge, and that will be more beneficial for you to take the real name and to approach the real plane where, where Krishna, your Lord, is living. This is to go home, and these are the points in Dikha. The devotee asks, sometimes my Dikha Guru, initiating spiritual master, used to say that within this lifetime one can be perfected, and at the end of this lifetime go back home, back to Godhead. Guru Maharaj is replying to that. It's very rarely found that in this one life, in a single life from this plane, one can reach the higher life. But generally, it requires lives together, if in a real process. There may also be setbacks. If one commits Vaishnava Aparad or Nama Aparad, offense to the Vaishnavas or the holy name, he may be detained again and again. It is not such a cheap thing. Still, there is the possibility that when properly guided, a proper soul may attain the higher position in a single life. It is not impossible. Then a devotee says, sometimes he said that a devotee could take birth where Krishna is having his pastimes within this material world, and he will be trained according to his given service to Krishna, and after that go to Goloka. So Guru Maharaj says, what do you think? That is to live in Vrindavan. That must be helpful, but this Navadvip is more helpful. There is the possibility of committing offenses. We can be misled by taking lust as love. We can misidentify our enjoyment as devotion or prema. The possibility is there. In that case, we would become sahajya. They imitate everything. And what is the value of only living in the land of what we see by our senses? It has been told that the Dham is aprakrita, not material, not to be experienced by our senses. We must try to live in that Dham, the Chinmoy, that is the fully conscious area. So if we really do not want to deceive ourselves, then we must not ignore the steps by which we may go there. With proper help and inspiration, we may know that Vrindavan is for the higher. We must get some inspiration. Caution is needed in attending Krishna Dham, as much as it is required for attending Krishna Leela. But if we are not sincere, we may commit offenses, and that will hurl us down. Rather, Navadvip Dham is more accommodating. There is also aparad is possible, but it may be minimized in Navadvip. Navadvip will help us as sadhakas, aspirants, to feel I am not so high, I am not holding such a high position as those in Vrindavan. In chanting the name or residing in the Dham, with everything there is consideration of offences, and less consideration of offences is found in Navadvip Dham. It is more liberal. Still, the most important factor is Sadhu Sangha, the superior guide. Srila Narottam Thakur has written, Tirtha Jatra Parishrama Kevala Manera Brahma Sarva Siddhi Govinda Charan. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has also written, Jai Tirte Vaishnava Noi, Se Tirteti Nahi Jai, Ki Labha Huite Duradesha, Jataya Vaishnavagan, Se Stana Brindavan, Se Stane Ananda Ashesha. Where is Brindavan? We may only reach Brindavan at the proper stage of realization. If we take Brindavan in the physical sense, we will commit so many offences according to our habit, and we shall have to mentally go downwards. So the illustration given by the sadhu and the shastra should be our guide. Only by that can we go to Vrindavan, or anywhere and everywhere, but the guiding star must always be our Guru, to guide us and show us what is what. As long as myself is not rising to that stage, I am always in need of a guide to show me what is Vrindavan. Vrindavan is not a physical eye experience. It is not in the world of our flesh experience. It is the highest of the high. Through Shraddha, faith, we must begin our journey beyond the subjective towards the supersubjective area. That is Vrindavan proper, where we can find Krishna proper. It is not to be found in any physical plane. He can come here. The higher plane can come in the gross, but it is not easy for those who are living in the gross plane to rise up higher. They can come, an agent can come, and they can take us up there. But without the help of the agent, it is not easy to go to that higher plane by our own experience. So our necessity is always Sadhu Sangha. To go to Vrindavan, we must have a guide. He will always caution us to see things with the proper angle of vision. A guide, Sadhu Sangha, is the most important factor in the life of a bona fide seeker of truth. And then next is Shastra, the revealed scriptures. In Bhagavad Gita, there are classifications in 3 classes, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. The lower kind of knowledge forcibly says that the things are not what they are. This is Tamagun, such as thinking, I'm this body. In Rajagun there is doubt. Oh, this may not be that. My conjecture and experience may not be perfect. And Sattva, the last, is of course to understand things properly. So there are, properly as they are. So knowledge is of different stages. To think that Vrindavan is in our mundane eye, ear, and touch experience can never be Vrindavan. Vrindavan proper is the supersoul area, and only our Atma, soul, can go there, and not this body, mind, etc. Otherwise, what is the necessity of spiritual practices or sadhana, the means to the end? Thus, Diksha is to throw oneself to the Vedic doctrine, to give up one's own knowledge of experience and invite the revealed estimation of the environment. It is to leave the world of mundane experience and go to the transcendental world. Somehow we must effect that journey. There is no shortcut without that journey. Of course, with the help of a proper guide, we may have a shortcut in the sense that we do not waste valuable time. Also, if we had some experience on the way in a particular life, that may help us to shorten the journey of this life. Then a devotee says, I went to an ashram where they said that without directly receiving Siddha Pranali or revelation of one's internal identity as a gopi, etc., spiritual perfection is incomplete. Guru Maharaj replies to that, yes, let them do so. They are representing the Sahaja school. Our Guru Maharaj wrote several poems, one of which is Prakrita Rasa Satadushani, 100 defects in the Sahaja conception. The defects are innumerable, but our Guru Maharaj put forward 100 points of the defects in their process of advancement. Mainly, they are very easily purchased. They are not prepared to pay the real price. But the death blow to them is this. Upajiya bade lata brahmananda bedijaya. Viraja brahmaloka bedi parabhyoma pai. Tabbe jaya tadu pari goloka brindavan. Krishna charana kalpa brika kare arohana. From Chaitanya Charitamrita. One must first cross the different gross and subtle layers of the Brahmanda, the mundane universe. Then Viraja, the extremity of the jurisdiction of Maya or misconception. Then the Brahman conception, the halo of the real or transcendental world. Then Vaikuntha, which is Parabhyom, a sphere of consciousness. The jiva comes from Tatastha Loka, the marginal position or the abshisha, and he must go through higher planes where the soul is more valuable than he himself. Can you follow? Devotee, yes. Srila Guru Maharaj says, Vaikuntera Pritiviti Adi Sakala Chinmoy. What is Vaikuntha? There the soil, the earth, water, everything is of pure consciousness. Purer consciousness than the person who is going to enter there. Can you imagine it? Devotee says, in one of your books you mentioned a land of gurus. Yes, Guru Maharaj says, yes. They are all gurus. They are all of supreme value by nature. Yet we have to pass over them. I sometimes give an example that it is necessary for the service we may even put our foot on the throne of the Lord. For example, to place his crown on his head, etc. And afterwards come back down, offer our obeisance, and then come out from the deity room. So we must enter and stay in a soil which is made of a stuff which is more valuable than our own selves. A slave, when entering and serving the emperor, may come near the emperor's bed, where even his near and dear ones cannot go or hesitate to go. He can, only for serving. So it is only for the divine service, for the necessity of the highest, that we can pass through that soil. It is not an easy thing. It is inconceivable. The fools rush in where angels fear to tread. Vaikuntera Pritiviti Adi Shakala Chinmoy. We must understand the conception properly. The jiva has emerged from the Tatastha Shakti or marginal potency. He is a part of the marginal potency and he must enter into the higher plane. The gross world is of gross potency, apara Shakti. The jiva, although marginal, is of a potency superior to this gross world, or parashakti, and above both is the internal potency, or the antaranga shakti. We have to enter into the antaranga shakti. This marginal potency is to enter into the antaranga shakti, and that is parabhyom, and the highest quarter. Vrindavan, Goloka, is not a light matter, it is the fact. Interestingly, we heard another time Guru Maharaj say that the Tatastha Jiva, when the Tatastha Jiva enters the shelter of the Chit Shakti, the spiritual realm, then the Jiva is not considered to be any longer Tatastha Shakti, but also to be part of the Chit Shakti by dint of him taking shelter there. His position becomes upgraded. Now he's part of the Chit Shakti also. So we must serve. In this world there is exploitation and renunciation, and beyond them both is dedication. Dedication is the proper and normal world. There are gradations according to our inner tendency of serving a particular calling. We may be allowed to enter that plane where all around is reverential soil. We must go there. Apparently it is impossible, but it is possible by grace, kripa. This is called kripa, his grace, his free will. He is the autocrat. Affection, raga, anuraga, does not differentiate between great and small. It is very generous. Only through affection and love is it possible to expect to go there one day. But it is not so easy. When one young devotee began to show so many apparently devotional sentiments, others came to me asking, "Oh, he is showing so many signs of higher bhav sentiments. Are they real?" I said, "Never." Mahaprabhu said, "I am hankering for a drop of real prema. I have not yet got that. Still I am weeping, shedding tears so much, crying, Krishna, Krishna." But that is all hypocrisy, because the positive proof is here. Without him, I am living. I did not disappear, dissolve. I am living, I am eating, I am taking bath, I am sleeping. This is the positive proof that I have no genuine love for Krishna. Mahaprabhu himself says that. It is such a valuable thing, and we think ourselves masters of it overnight. Fools, deceivers, self-deceivers. In the positive way, it can never be attained. Only in the negative way, we can have some conception. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Vikakana kori dehite chahile hoy anki agochara. Suddenly a flash came, but when I tried to see that, it disappeared. It was withdrawn. In this way, in a negative way, we can have some idea. Whimsically he may come, and suddenly I may feel, some experience of that higher kind of knowledge and love. But if I try to cast my eye there, to that side, nothing. Do you want to die? Then come to live. We shall have to invite wholesale dissolution of everything in our experience. Hegel's words help us. Die to live. What is generally considered a concrete, valuable thing must be cast into fire for some hope which is ununderstandable, unknown and unknowable. Sacrifice means that. Sacrifice gives that suggestion. It may be thought that we pour such a valuable foodstuff, ghee, into the fire, that ghee is burnt in the fire and smoke is produced, and that will create a healthier atmosphere, a kind of filtering that we invite for our benefit. Of course, to say such a thing is improper and ridiculous, yet the benefit from the unknown quarter is there. Unknown, be disgusted with your known world. Knowledge, pleasure, everything. Die to live, all risk, no gain. And when the destination has been reached to a certain extent, all gain and no risk. Actually, what we risk is all concoction, the misunderstanding aspect. We only need to throw our misconception into the fire to gain a proper conception of reality. When the unreal is put into the fire, we gain the real. To die to live means this. Jai Sri Guru Guranga Radha Sham Sundar. Here in this world, we are habituated to think that I am the monarch of all I survey. We want to become a monarch. Whether we are monarch or not, our tendency is to want to be monarch. All of us want to be monarch, and there is another reactionary school that says, I do not want anything, I want nothing but dreamless sleep. Cessation is the most valuable thing in our experience. Complete cessation of this life. Both these aspects of enjoyment or exploitation and renunciation must be eliminated. And a third plane should be found to live in. That third plane is the life of a gentleman, the life of dedication, a life of duty, not to any part, but for the whole. I live for the whole, and that whole is the part of Lord Krishna. This is to be a lover of this beautiful. This is to be a lover of the beautiful. In that way, we have to understand and march onward. Atava bahuna tena kim gyatena tavarjuna vistabayam idam krishnam ekam shena stito jagat. Arjun, the infinite of your conception is my one negligible part. I am so great that the infinite of your conception is contained in only a fraction of me. Then what is our chance of approaching him? We may think Krishna is only a reflection of a picture in my mind. There is Krishna, the whole forms, he is one part, and I am approaching him. My only solace will be that I am going through his agent. He has sent his agent to recruit me, and that is my hope. He has sent his men to recruit me. He's so kind and benevolent, and that will be my hope. I must be thankful for that, and not be a traitor to his agent. We must be cautious to see that we do not play treachery with his agent, for thereby we commit treachery against ourselves. Om Vishnupad, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj ki jai. You are all his contribution, Swami Maharaj. Brought you here, attracted you to this side, and I have been given some opportunity to serve you in this way by speaking to you. Willingly or unwillingly, I am forced to do some service in that line. It was so wonderful and tremendously done by Swami Maharaj. His preaching to the foreign countries is an inconceivable thing. So I say, Shaktya Vaishavatar, some supernatural transcendental power, the grace of Nityananda, entered into him, and as an instrument, he has done for his Lord a tremendous work to attract your attention towards the culture of Mahaprabhu Chaitanya Dev. Sri Gauranga's gift attracted your attention. Bhaktivinoda Thakur could see this, and our Guru Maharaj began in his mild way. Bhaktivinoda Thakur saw it as self-evident that the intelligentsia could not but be attracted to such a plain, simple, and dignified gift. The gift of Mahaprabhu, the conception of Mahaprabhu, such a magnanimous conception of their position, as foretold by Mahaprabhu, could not but be accepted by the sincere intelligentsia of the world. He could see this general truth. Guru Maharaj began, and Swami Maharaj successfully completed that work. After all, the divine will was fulfilled. It is not in the jurisdiction of the lower agents of the world, the subordinate gods or agents. We are attracted by that. Die to live. Reality is for itself. We are to sacrifice everything for himself. We are for himself. Our prospect is in his service. All our prospect is in his service, but in the highest degree, it is so loving service, service of affection, without any calculation of loss and gain. It is above that, in the area of love and affection, beauty and charm. We are members there. Our prospect is there. It is offered to us. Above justice, above knowledge, Gyan Shunya Bhakti. Even if Chaitanya Dev is considered as a human being, we have never seen in any history of the world such intense affinity for the highest as we have seen in him. Such an intensified mentality towards the higher conception of the Absolute, such self-forgetfulness. There is a self-forgetfulness in Socrates, and the Christians also speak of self-sacrifice in Christ. But the degree of self-forgetfulness that was shown in the life of Sri Chaitanya Dev was never to be conceived of or seen before, even if we think of him as a human. Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentioned in his autobiography, when I first came to study the Bhagavat and Sri Chaitanya Dev, I thought, why did an exceptional scholar like Sri Chaitanya Dev support the debauchery of the Supreme Lord in Vrindavan as the highest end of life? What is the reason? He was one of the highest and greatest scholars, and he ultimately supported the debauchery, stealing, etc. of the Absolute as being the highest conception. How is that possible? Then I began to pray to the Lord to reveal the fact to me. I couldn't follow it. Then he said that the flash came, and with that, it also came to him that Chaitanya Dev is Krishna himself. He is revealing Krishna, revealing himself, giving the clue to the scientific position of his own identity as Krishna. Why? In the highest sense, he's autocrat, above law. He's the owner of the whole, above law. He's absolute good. We mustn't forget that. He is absolute good, with everything belonging to him. We put forth that we have claims over the environment or over ourselves. I belong to me. But this is false. I am not an independent factor in this world. I am part and parcel. I belong to someone. I have got my master. Everything belongs to him. And without any condition, unconditionally, every atom belongs to the controlling center, and that is love and goodness. Where is the objection? Where is the cause for objection? No cause for objection can evidently stand if we can really find what is the real position and nature of the center. Absolute good, love. The essence of love lives by distribution, not by absorption, but by distribution. That is love. Prema is that which exists by its tendency of disturbance and distribution, and that is the highest. If a mother forcibly takes her child to her breast, is it bad? The child is crying for milk. He does not know how to mitigate the pain of hunger in his belly. So, is it force or affection? We are laboring under so much suspicion, so engrossed in and opposed by Maya. Misunderstanding, the misinterpreted part of the world, that we cannot even think of the conception of truth and goodness. We are so far from the standard of goodness and truth, we cannot understand what should be the real symptom of higher existence. So fallen Satan says, it is better to reign in hell than to serve in heaven. That is generally the outcome of our life experience. Here, we want to reign in hell rather than serve in heaven. But just the opposite will be really helpful to us. Die to live. Dikka kale bhakta kare atma samarpana. Se kale Krishna tare kare atma sama. Se deha kare tara chidanandamoy. Prakrita dehe tanna charana vijay. From Chaitanya Charitamrita. Previously I said that Dikka was the process by which divine knowledge is imparted. The knowledge of the infinite world is imparted to the finite. What is that process? Dikka kale bhakta kare atma samarpana. The candidate must fully surrender to a knowledge that is coming down and being imparted to him. Se kale Krishna tare atma sama. Krishna accepts him as his own. It is necessary for him to give up his knowledge or experience fully, perfectly, and clear-handed. Naked, he will be prepared to accept the higher knowledge, and the higher knowledge will absorb him as his own. Sa deha kare tara chidanandamoy. From that time, he gets a conception of another body, not this body of flesh and blood, or the mind. His ego becomes colored by the higher knowledge. He hopes for another personification of his own, and a prakrita deha Krishna charana bhajai. In that body, he can serve Krishna, not this body of flesh or the mental body which is drawn from the experience of this world. These are unfit. Only the new body, the inner body that comes in contact with that divinity, that body or ego can enter there and serve. And this is by the grace, always by the grace, and not as a matter of right. Still, the grace is so lenient that a servitor may think, it is my right. Really, intatasta vichar, impartial judgment. If from our relative position we venture to tackle the absolute conception, we can only think that we are unfit. Only through grace can we attain a position there. Apparently, Jashoda is whipping Krishna. Her position is superior to Krishna. Krishna is under her control. This is the relative position. But from the absolute position, Jashoda is none but a servitor of Krishna. Yet by grace, in the relative position, she is supreme. The fact is not so different, however, the potency is his own. Sometimes he himself is controlled by that fine potency of pleasure. He says in the story of Ambarish, Aham bhakta paradino yasat aswatantra iva dvija. I am dependent upon my devotees, as if I have got no independence. Iva means as if. That is his posing. Devotion is such, his potency, particular potency. Devotion is as powerful that sometimes it works beyond his own will. But that is devotion to him. Submission to the master is so intense that the master becomes subservient to the servant through affection. At my beck and call, he can give his life, so how should I deal with him? Automatically, the master's heart goes to him. That is love or prema. Srila Rupa Goswami wrote, Shri Krishna Karshini Cha Sa. The highest and most excellent capacity and qualification of devotion can forcibly draw Krishna towards the devotee, though he is absolutely independent. Bhakti or self-sacrifice to the extreme, sacrifice for serving. Loving service is so powerful that the Lord becomes a friend, and in different ways he comes to meet his devotees. Ashvatantra iva dvija. Although I am free, I depend on my devotees as though I am not. Sometimes I feel like that. This is independence proper. Absolute means this. Absolute does not mean that mercilessly he is bruising everything under his feet. There is love. Embracing all interest is represented there. He has love. He is the Lord of love. So our fortune, our luck is represented there in him. The transaction of love and affection is so great. Hare Krishna. Okay, that's the end of that chapter. So what do we think about that? By grace. So everything is coming to us by grace. Only by grace, a grant of grace. By constitution, we're unfit for it. By constitution, we are considered as nityabada, like eternally conditioned in this material world, or eternally bound to this material world. It is said like that. The jiva is eternally bound to this world. And there's nothing we can do to break out of that. Daiviyesha gunamayi mama maya dharatya, Krishna says in the Gita. No one can cross over this maya of mine, because she has my backing, my divine, she's part of my divine potency. She's backed by me. So no one can cross that. But those who surrender to me, they can very easily cross. So this is the key, surrender. And surrender, very easy to say, but not so easy to do. We're singing that in that song. We're saying that I have surrendered. I have surrendered. But have we surrendered? Not really. If we had surrendered, we would not be in the next moment able to go in another way. Still, we're being dragged here and there by so many things in this material world. But those who are fully surrendered to the Lord, they see the Lord. They see the Lord. Some packages. So they, as much as one surrenders to the Lord, that much his real serving nature comes out. It is by service, and not by any kind of assertion. Wrong door.
Yes, Mr. Patel.
No. Not by any kind of assertion or any kind of demand or, right. We cannot say it is my right, although it is, in one sense, the birthright of every jiva soul is to serve Krishna. In Guru Maharaj's words, you're designed and destined for that. That's why you exist. You don't exist just to revolve round and around in this samsara, birth, death, old age, disease, and suffering for all eternity. That would be terrible, wouldn't it? They say, the Christians, they say, if you don't accept Christ as your personal savior, then you have to burn in a lake of fire forever, not just for a little while. And maybe all of us might deserve a little burning, but forever? I mean, what kind of God is that? That's a terrible thing, a terrible prospect.
Well, if we're designed for it, what our natural tendency should be that then?
It should be.
Sort of
It should be. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, as soon as the jiva soul comes in connection with the material energy and gets caught in the wheel of samskara, that time and space, all of these things, then the very thing which is alien to his soul become like the greatest necessity of their life. So that's the nature of Maya, is that we think we need this, we need that, all these different things. But it's all a misconceived idea. And that's the very nature of Maya. She convinces us that we're something that we're not, and that we need something that we don't need. Excuse me. And that we have some prospect here in this world. But actually we don't have any prospect in this world. And sometimes that's a very difficult pill to swallow. Because we got this whole world that we've made up, right? That we have our family, our home, our, all the things that go along with that. And we're attached to that. We're very much attached to that. And in the real sense, attached in as much as that's what's keeping us bound to this material world. We may have service to Krishna, but if something comes to disturb our, status quo here we'll leave the service and run to that. Have to go and put that out, that fire out, if you like. We see that as being more important, and we think that devotional service is like a luxury, something I can do when I've got some spare time, but really, my real focus is this, what Guru Maharaj would say, phantasmagoria, this whole misconceived world. That's my real purpose. And I've got to do that. I've got to. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, as much as one is captured by the Maya, by the material world, that much he must worship material nature. Doesn't mean that, that's the process, you worship material. It just means there's no other way. You're forced to do that. Your nature becomes that now, the worshipper of the material things. And maybe in the modern day, that's the, I don't know, what's that shopping centre in Stratford?
Westfield.
Yeah, Westfields. That's like the temple of consumerism. and everyone's flocking there to worship in the temple of consumerism. Spend their whole day wandering around there, looking at all the things that they wish they had. And, and then people at the door saying, yes, you can have it, we'll give you a card, you can pay it off in monthly manageable chunks, you can have it. Everything that you desire, we've got it here. You can have it. And they're like, yeah, that looks great. And we think that all of those things are going to give us some satisfaction. All those, latest gadgets or, 60, 70, 80-inch television or whatever it is. I went to my daughter's house the other day. They got a television as big as the room. I mean, really, it's huge. It's huge television there, and they just sit in front of that, either watching television or playing computer games. It's like their god, their altar there. This is quite freaky, actually, But there you are. And that's everybody, right? That's everyone, especially today. I don't think we've ever been so distracted in the history of mankind than we are in the modern day. That everyone, I noticed this, since I didn't have my car for a while and traveling on the trains and buses and everything, everyone's glued to that little machine, Everyone. I hadn't noticed that, but for, when I used to commute to work on the train and everything, people would be reading the newspaper or now it's that, on that thing, completely 24 hours a day, and whatever you want, you can find it there, isn't it? And even now, when people have young children, it used to be they'd stick the dummy in, and the child will, be distracted by that, or they give them something. Now they give them the mobile phone, and tiny kids, they know how to do it all. They know, probably better than us. They suss it out, and it's actually quite scary. I think it's quite scary that we're so totally dependent on these things.
Sometimes devotee does as well.
Yeah.
They are attached to not mobile, but something.
Something, yeah.
Like Muchkan, the story, Bhakti.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, when he was called by Indra, there was a war between the Rakshak
Yes.
and them. And he goes to help them. And he stays so long there,
Yeah.
he didn't realize.
Right.
So when war is finished, Indra says, I can give you boon.
Yeah.
Then ask something. I said, no, I don't want to go. I don't want anything. I got everything.
Yeah.
I want to just go on the earth and stay with my family.
Right.
And, but they said there is a time difference.
Yeah,
Your
family's gone, long time, yeah.
Then he said, I don't want anything. I want to go to
Just go to sleep, yeah. That's actually what we do, isn't it? Sometimes, if we're suffering acutely, the only relief is sleep. And that was his case. Like you say, he stayed so long in Swarga that when he went back, his family were long gone, like centuries ago gone. We forget that, so.
But then still say, no, you have to ask something. I can give you boon. Then he says, okay, give me mukti, free.
Yeah.
Then he said, that I can't give, only Krishna can give that.
Oh, yeah.
And he gets, when he's sleeping, then Krishna goes there in that cave.
That's right.
And because Kali Yavan was fighting,
yes,
want to fight with Krishna, and Krishna pretended that.
He thought it was Krishna, lying there.
But that
and
cave
kicked
is
him.
still there in Gujarat, in Junagadh.
Yeah. You've been? Have you seen?
Yeah, I know. Muchkan.
Yeah. Yes, wonderful. Then, so, then there is, I remember when my kids were younger, before all the mobile phones and everything, and they used to say, oh, Dad, I'm bored, and I say, yeah, that's good. It's good to be bored sometimes, and it can spark your creativity, being bored. But now no one's bored, they just go straight onto their mobile device and off they go, 24 hours a day, there's something there to distract you. then you forget what your life is about. You're just attached to this machine.
Even the kids, they take the food, we give the mobile,
Yeah.
and they don't know what they're eating,
Yeah.
what they're taking.
Right.
What the food
You're
is.
right. Yeah. Completely distracted. Completely distracted. Then, and this was Einstein. Einstein says, when our technology surpasses our intellect, then we'll be left with a society of morons. And that's what we see, there's people just like slaves to these things. And I'm not saying that I'm above that too. The other day I thought I'd lost my phone. I was beside, what? Everything's on there, all my bank details, like everything. It's like my whole life is in this phone. So, we're all victims of that. It's kind of an inevitable thing. But sometimes it's good to switch it off. Even I remember when I was a kid, we used to go, if we go on a long journey, we'd be looking out the window to, see the scenery, see the countryside, the hills, everything. Or if you're on the train, you're watching the world go by. And somebody said, now, anyone going anywhere nice this weekend to stare at their phone? Did you see that? Nobody looks at anything else. They're just looking at their phone. And the world's going by. They don't even see it. Even you see couples going out for dinner, and one's got the phone there, the other's got the phone there. Like, why bother, Stay at home. Save some money. Not even speaking to each other. Or perhaps they're texting each other across the table, I don't know. But anyhow. So, that we've never been more distracted than we are today. Everyone has, when we were growing up, right, there were 4 channels on the television. Actually, it was just 3 to begin with. BBC 1, BBC 2, ITV. Then there was Channel 4. And then Channel 5, and we're thinking, wow, this is progress. Now, there's like 200 channels. And still, you have to go a long way before you find anything worth watching. If you can find anything. There's just so much garbage on there. And it's there all the time, like 24 hours a day. 24 hours a day, your kiddie can watch cartoons 24 hours a day if you can't get them to sleep. Oh dear, what a terrible thing. And we think that's progress. We think that's progress. Because we are addicted to comfort and convenience. That's what we think is the important thing in our life, comfort and convenience. And we're being told that all the time by advertising and so many things, But actually, human life is meant for something more than that. We are meant to sacrifice something of ourselves for the higher center. That higher center, that is Krishna. We're meant to sacrifice ourselves for that. Our Guru Maharaj used to say, sacrifice is joy. So we see that in a smaller way. Just like if maybe you like to eat. So some people like to eat, but other people like to cook and feed others. And you see that those who feed others, they get more enjoyment than those eating. There's more enjoyment there. So that means like to give your energy for others is more satisfying. What did Christ say? No greater love hath he than who sacrifices himself for his brother. So, we know that, we see that on the film where the soldiers are there, they throw in a grenade, and one of the men throws himself on top of the grenade to save everybody else. It's like heroic sacrifice, and we instinctively we recognize that as something noble. But really, our life is meant to sacrifice ourselves for Krishna, because all of this world is illusory, and only Krishna is real. But we're living in the Maya world, and Maya has convinced us that all of this is real, and so we're always thinking, I, me, and mine all the time. I, me, mine. I, me, mine. So, but nothing is ours actually. Everything is a grant. For now. They say you can't take it with you when you go, you know. So Lord Jesus said, don't store your wealth where moth and rust will corrupt it, but store your wealth in the house of the Lord. So in other words, we shouldn't always be thinking about this world and what needs to be done in this world, because that's going along with or without us. You know, if you step out for a while, the world doesn't stop, does it? It still continues as it is. And so Saraswat Thakur said, and this was interesting at the beginning of this, Guru Maharaj explaining the 4 kinds of, you know, stages of karma. But Saraswat Thakur, he said that what is coming to you, so that's called prarabdha or aparabdha karma. That means that which hasn't yet fructified, but it's coming in the future. And prarabdha karma means that which you're dealing with now. So that's coming to you, that aparabdha karma. It's already been reserved. And that's coming, good or bad. And there's nothing you can do to change that. So he says there's nothing you can do to stop it happening, and there's nothing you can do to make it happen, because it's already predestined. So, you know, we need to kind of leave this idea that you know, we make some plan, and if we work hard, we'll get everything that we desire. Because that's also Maya. What's coming to you is already coming to you. And if you're destined to be wealthy and, you know, prosperous in this world, there's nothing you can do that'll stop that. And if you're not destined to be that, there's nothing you can do that'll make that happen. You know, we're taught from a young age in school that if you work hard, then you can get everything you want in life. But that's actually not true. Because we see from our own life experience that some people work really hard and still have nothing to show for it, isn't it? And other people who don't seem to do anything get everything handed to them on a plate. It's karma, you know, it's about karma. So, you know, then don't, Saraswat Thakur says, then don't, you know, waste your time in making that your priority. You make your priority the cultivation of your inner spiritual life, because that's what's necessary for you and those you love to be able to transcend this material world. Just being, you know, just doing your time, if you like, in the prison, that's not enough. If you try and do, you know, some good behavior, then you may be released early, isn't it? So this should be our goal, that we want to get out of this Maya, out of this material world. And Krishna tells us in Bhagavad Gita, the only way to do that is by surrender to him. Mama Maya Dharatyaya. You can't cross this Maya of mine, because Daiviyesha Gunamayi is my divine energy. No one can cross that. But those who surrender to me, they can easily cross that. That great ocean of the material world becomes as insignificant as the water in a calf's footprint. And easily you can cross that if you surrender to Krishna.
In this chapter, Guru Maharaj talking about Diksha.
Yes.
So Diksha can change person.
Yes. It's the process, actually, you know. But again, it depends largely on you, you know. So just the other day, I was listening to Guru Maharaj, and he's saying, someone's asking him, "Oh, I heard that when you take initiation, that all your karma goes, right? And the Guru takes all your karma from you, and you're free of karma. You know, maybe said like that. And Srila Guru Maharaj said, why you're just acting in the theoretical world? Come to the real world, to the truth, the practical world. So it's said like that. What it means is that, like if you have some sickness, but you engage a good doctor, if you follow their advice, then your cure is more or less guaranteed. They say, yes, oh yeah, that person, their disease will go. But we don't see that just by registering with that doctor, immediately the disease goes. They have to follow the directions and take the medicine and do all the things that the doctor advises. So similarly, in spiritual life, it may say, yes, when you have the proper guru and all of that, then the karma will be gone. But we don't see that happens immediately. It means that your success is guaranteed now. But there must be some practical steps to that, and also something necessary from your side. It's not like the guru waves a magic wand and you become like some kind of Superman or something. You have to follow. They accept you, and just like if you go to the doctor and the doctor says you have to take this medicine, follow this diet and this regime, whatever it is, then you'll get better. But if you don't do that, then the doctor's advice to you is more or less useless. So similarly, when the sadhu advises us something, this is your prescription, if you like. If you ignore it, then don't be surprised if nothing changes in you. If nothing changes. It has to be, that's what it means when Guru Maharaj says Diksha means the departing of Dibya Gyan, that divine knowledge to the disciple. A new way of seeing the world. But you have to apply yourself to that. It's not, like I said, it's not that he waves a magic wand and suddenly, everything's perfect. So we have to be practical. The theoretical world, the theory isn't going to help us much if we don't apply that. We all know the theory. That's why, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he talks about 4 kinds of anartha in the life of the sadhaka. The main 4 anarthas. First one is misidentification of the self. So that's like thinking you're the body, thinking that you belong to this race, this caste, this whatever it is. And thinking that your family members, they're all part and parcel of you. All the thoughts that are going on in your head, that's who you are. That's all maya, misconception. That's the first anartha that we deal with. And then the second anartha is desire for things of this world. I want this, I want that, I want a million, I want a billion. It's never enough, right? That in Bhagavatam, that's called hridrogam, heart disease. That not satisfied with what I have. I always want more. And it's the nature of this world. So Bhagavatam says, when I was an elephant, I devoured a forest, and still I wasn't satisfied. When I was a pig, I devoured a hillock of stool, and still I wasn't my hunger wasn't satisfied. And now I'm a human being. I'm never satisfied. I always want more. Hridrogam, this is that. And then the second anartha. Then the third anartha is aparad. That means offense to the sadhu, offense to the scripture, offense to the guru, offense to Krishna. There's like so many ways we can make offense. And finally, which I think is the most significant, is weakness of heart. The weakness of heart means you know what you meant to do. You know what you have to do to practice the spiritual life, but the truth is you can't be bothered. I can't be bothered, It's like, you have to get up and go to work, but you're so warm under that duvet, and it's cold outside, you think, can't be bothered, Ring in sick instead. But for how long can you do that before you get fired, So this is I think the most difficult of all anarthas, that weakness of heart. I know what I should do. I know what's expected of me, but really I just can't be bothered with it, you know. And that's ultimately one of the things that we find, especially in the modern society, that everything is laid on for you. You don't have to do anything. You don't even have to go out of your house anymore, do you? You get all your shopping delivered, get your food delivered, and you know, you don't have to go anywhere. And now even you can get it like in an hour. It used to be, you know, wait some days. Now what are they? All those things like, what is it? Get it, or you know, there are all these different things you can get delivered immediately. You don't have to do anything. Just stay in bed all day, especially if you work from home, which a lot of people do since the pandemic. You know, then nothing you need to do. So it's a terrible state for us to be in. You know, that kind of lethargic state where everything's so convenient for us that we can't be bothered anymore. You know, what to speak of devotion, we can't be bothered. And that's also there too, you know. Can't be bothered to go to the Mongol Arti. You can tune in on the internet and watch it from your bed if you want to do that. And okay, that's better than just being asleep, I guess. But you know, so this weakness of heart, it's a very difficult thing. So you know, we need to make an effort. We need to get out the bed and make an effort and do something for our spiritual welfare. So, and I see this too, you know, if the boss says, I'll need you in by 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, yes boss, I'll be there, because there's a paycheck at the end of that, you know. But if Krishna says, I need you to come to Mongol Arti at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, no, I can't be bothered with that. I'm not going for that. So, you know, this is our unfortunate situation, you know. We're driven by money and, you know, the things that we think will give us happiness in this world. And when that comes to clash with the absolute consideration, it usually gets the upper hand. I was saying earlier, you may be doing your service, but something comes up in your you know, Maya life, and you'll leave your service and run to that. Oh yeah, I have to go and deal with that. That something's on fire, I have to go and put the fire out. Little fires everywhere. But Saraswat Thakur, he said, even if you say that there are fires, and after putting out the fires, I'll come to serve Krishna. And I say, like, let it burn. Let the fire burn, because then you don't need to deal with those burnt things anymore. You just come now to Krishna. It doesn't mean in a physical sense, but try and give yourself to Krishna and his service. We have to it needs something from our side to overcome that weakness of heart and all these anarthas. That without ridding ourselves of anarthas, we can never come to the state of pure consciousness, what to speak of Krishna consciousness. Okay, anyway, our time has gone. So unless anyone has a question, we can do the arti now. So Jayam Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jayam Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande.